Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. This is a regular episode, man. I'm excited.
Ooh.
It's been a while. It's been a while.
Ugh. Are you gonna sing the song?
Ugh. No, I'm not gonna sing a goddamn song. Hello, friend.
That's the song you're gonna sing?
Hello, friend. It's nice to see you again.
Are you talking to the 4 people that listen? 5 people. Thank you for reaching out.
Yes, and if you like the sound of our voice, whatever you listen to this on, you like it, leave a comment, all that fun
Subscribe.
stuff.
This guy doesn't remember any of my... We're at comic_patrol at Twitter, and you can email us at comicpatrol, one word, pod.
I wasn't getting there yet. I was just talking.
Just give them everything.
The host.
They need it. They want to reach out. They want to know.
Well, okay, comicpatrolpod@gmail.com or comic_patrol at comic_patrol. That's right. For Twitter. You do the Twitter thing.
Yeah, come see our unmanned Twitter where every so often I'll throw up a panel and be like, "Where's Stat Boy?" Like, I swear we hired a Stat Boy. Has found greener pastures. So we're hiring for a Stat Boy. So if you want to drop us a resume, and by resume, anything funny you think that other people will want to laugh at, we will take it.
Stat Boy.
Awkward silence. Back at it again, like we never left. Coke and Dank, Dank and Coke. We are the Lethal Weapons.
Hey, Dank.
Hey, Coke.
What is the type of gun that has never killed anything?
Golden gun.
A vegan.
That's legit. You get legit for that one.
Yeah, that was a good. I
that
like
one
that
brought
one.
me back in.
Now we got you locked in. We got you locked
Stupid vegans, just eat the eggs. You can't replace eggs.
You ever see that meme where it's like there's like 12 urinals?
Uh-huh.
It's just the one guy in the far urinal, and then the other guy walks in, and he walks all the way next to him, and he goes,
I would say that, yeah. Shout it from the mountaintop. I don't eat faces. Well, we eat faces, just not as much as you do.
Yeah. We eat faces. But this is Comic Patrol, full episode.
I wish we were doing a face-eating comic. That would have been a perfect segue.
That would have been good. We're not doing face eating. It's been a while since we've dropped we call them full episodes, which are our longest segment. Our last one was number 76. That was back in March. That was the Brubaker and Phillips 6-pack, where we went over 6 of our favorite comics from that duo.
And that wasn't even like a real episode. That was like an amalgamation compilation.
It was an amalgamation, yeah. And the one before that was our Blackest Night event, is where we read the Blackest Night event one comic at a time. We record it one at a time and then put it together. So you get our fresh reactions after every issue.
An amalgamation. So you just keep telling people that we can't stand talking for each other for longer than an hour consecutively.
That's fine, because you can also check out our last arc analysis where we just focus on one book. The last one was Shirtless Bear Fighter 2.
That did not pass the rereadables, unfortunately. Would you reread that again?
Yeah.
No,
not 2. 1, I'd read 1. I bought 1, and I will read that every year, like it's a tradition
without fail.
Thing is, but today we're doing an AXP, which is across the pages, where we take 2 properties and we find similarities in them, as long as they have the same sort of medium. In this case, we got a movie and a comic for each, and we kind of cross them over. Before, we used to just cover one and you'd cover the other one, and we'd kind of do a show and tell thing, but this time we've done it differently, where we watched and read everything.
Oh, was I supposed to do that?
It's okay, we'll just pretend you did.
Right. I watched Parabellum because that's the best one. The look in your face. You don't like Parabellum? No?
What is that word? What does that mean?
I don't know, but I just like they say excommunicado way more than they need to.
So
He's excommunicado. Excommunicado. I didn't even know what the word meant.
so many times.
Excommunicado.
So many times. But yeah, so we're doing John Wick.
John Wick.
John Wick. I don't know why I just
En
changed
français.
John Wick.
Jean Wick.
Nous do Jean Wick.
Amuse-bouche.
Amuse-bouche. Yeah.
We're off the rails.
Sacré bleu. Sacré bleu.
We're just super tired. It's gonna work either way.
But yeah, we're doing John Wick, AXP, so across the page with the Punisher.
Now hood classics. I'm gonna say both of them are hood classics because
yeah,
Punisher fans are devout Punisher fans. They love Frank Castle and all the chaos that he gets into. And John Wick has managed to create like generations. This franchise started in 2014. It's now 2023. 4 movies. It's going to spawn a TV show. But those that love the John Wick love the John Wick. And now this is the new kind of action hero for our day, right? Mm-hmm. And that's crazy for Keanu Reeves because he's been all over the actions and found a way to reinvent himself again. So.
And I remember we're talking about the first movie tonight and Punisher Warzone, but for the movie parts of it. But for John Wick, it's interesting because I remember seeing it come out like in 2014, you said, and I just was like, oh, I don't know what this is, but whatever. And then when I finally did end up watching it, it was like
wow,
a week or two before the second one was about to drop.
Okay,
so I got to watch them back to back, and I was like,
nice.
oh wow, this is. But the first one, it didn't blow my mind, but I was like, it hooked me hard. I was like, this is wicked.
They hit that perfect sweet spot of just like, don't fuck with a man and don't fuck with a man's dog. And everyone's like, you should love that dog alone, right? Like,
simple premise and a really cool world.
Yes.
Well, interesting characters. And just right to the point. And then the choreography.
Yeah.
The choreography and the directing is
super stylized. And then we would later find out how much work Keanu Reeves puts into being John Wick with all like 9 times out of 10 they have the choreography in mind before they even have like the action sequence or the script. They just know you're going to fight these 4 guys. So this is kind of how we want that dance to roll through. And you can see it because he seems so calculated and controlled and measured. But Keanu Reeves being kind of Neo from the Matrix, he knows what it takes to keep his eye on the prize and like practice. Nail it.
And you see those shots of him with like the AR rifle going through like the training, like he's really doing it. And they ask him like, "You do your own stunts?" He goes, "I don't really do stunts, but I do all my choreography." He's like, "But when you see someone getting thrown out of a car, he's like, that's not me. That's a stunt. But I do all my own like fight, my choreography, my fighting, my shooting, and it's really cool because then it gives the director, I think, more freedom to keep the shots fluid, right? Yeah, you don't have to keep replacing with a stunt double."
And he's in the, I guess we're talking about John Wick right off the bat. Like he's in the movie 90% of it. Like you're getting his face in frame. He's holding it down and not a lot of dialogue for him. I don't think he says more than, I want to say 60 words, maybe. I could be wrong.
He does talk a bit in this one, in the first one. I think he might, I haven't seen the fourth one yet, but the first.
Oh yeah, I think because he has conversations with Legs and
I think he actually talks the most in this one, maybe.
And it's not a lot of talking though, right?
No,
like,
it's not. No,
it's everyone else around him, like Baba Yaga. And as soon as I heard Baba Yaga, like that's the shit that like made him like a cult status internet success of just like this is the boogeyman, right? So I really appreciate about this movie. Great, as you said, great world building. But they managed to like be subtle and not give us all the exposition of everything that was happening. Like those gold coins, for instance. Like I didn't know what it was, but anyone that has them is a major player in this kind of world. So those little touch tones when we first saw this movie, that was like,
I think that's what I like. Not the most, but that was the most intriguing part. Was this hidden? I don't know the word, like this hidden, I don't want to say kingdom because it's not kingdom, organization, this hidden organization, like that kind of overlaps with the real world.
Right. And
everybody's just like, you could go down the street and you could pass by 4 or 5 assassins, you wouldn't even know it. And then they have the Continental, that building where it's like Switzerland. Nobody's supposed to hurt each other in there. Right.
Right.
So it's like they're their home base so they can kind of recover and stuff. But it's cool because they don't really tell you what they are. They don't really tell you how it works. They don't really tell you the value of those gold coins. It's just like that gold coin can get you basically anything. Like here's a gold coin. Okay, let's just take out this dead body. But that's what kind of keeps it cool. Is like you don't. Like you want to know more, but you don't want to know more. You're like, you know, I get it. There's this secret society. We're just gonna roll with it. Gold coins are kind of
all we ask is trust.
Yeah,
and he loses it immediately. So I guess we're doing the movie. We'll do John Wick first since we're all over it.
Well, yeah, we'll keep going, but we don't talk about why we chose these two.
I think it's pretty obvious, though, right?
Right, we got to say it, right? This is across the pages, so we got to say why we chose these two. We chose Swamp Thing and Iceman because they're underrated elemental forces that need to see some love. These two are
vigilantes,
revenge
mongers.
Revenge. There we go. There we go.
Well, tacticians,
tragic backstories,
tragic heroes, reluctant heroes.
Yeah.
Tired. these guys are always tired. I can't blame them. Yeah. They also, these guys are immortal because in movie logic they get shot so many times, never in the face, which again, movie logic, you can't shoot them in the face because that would end everything. But they shot a lot of people in the face. Can't wait till we get to Warzone. Oh man, headshot.
They could be they could pretty much be one man armies in a way. I think more so John Wick than Punisher, but they're forces, right? They come through and it's like, no.
You can argue that Punisher is a one man army. He just has people that kind of give him intel and works with the police somehow. But again, so does John Wick. Like there's a moment where the cop comes up and is like, hey,
you back working, John? Just a little bit, just clearing some stuff up.
Yeah.
All right, you have a good night in the dead bodies.
He's like, yep, not gonna say anything about this. Let's get into it. John Wick 2014. Directed by Chad Stahelski, written by David Leitch and Derek Kolstad. We have the underrated cast because I didn't realize how many kind of A-lists.
Cast is amazing.
That were in it until I watched it again. Yes.
Yeah, the cast is low-key amazing.
So you got Keanu Reeves playing John Wick, Michael Nisquit playing Viggo Tarvason, Alfie Allen playing Yusuf Tarvas. Tarasov? Yeah. Yusuf. Willem Dafoe playing Marcus, Dean Winters playing Avi, Adrian Palalecki playing Miss Perkins, Omar Banir playing Gregory, Toby Leonard Moore playing Victor, Bridget Monahan playing Helen, Johnny Leguizamo playing Aurelio, Ian McShane playing Winston, Bridget Riley playing Addie, rest in peace now, Lance Reddick playing the hotel manager, Keith Jardine playing Kuzma. Fine. Tate Fletcher playing Nikolai because he goes down pretty hard.
Yeah, Nikolai does.
Oh, my mistake. Kevin Nash playing Francis.
I
forgot. Goddamn, Kevin Nash is in this bad boy.
I saw him and I was like, oh yeah. I was like, thanks, gonna get hype off this.
I did it and I forgot I was in it. More shout outs. Fine. Thomas Sadoki playing Jimmy. Randall Duke Kim playing Continental Doctor. David Patrick Kelly playing Charlie. Clark Peters, legend from The Wire, playing Harry.
It's pretty cool about the Wire alumni that crossed the two movies. That wasn't lost on me. That's pretty cool. And the Kevin Nash cameo is like literally like 2 minutes. But it's so funny that
he's just a big Russian dude. Damn, that's why we should have done Thomas J.
Because he's the sailor or whatever in that.
Yeah, not even sailor. He's just a Russian, but he's wearing like this sailor.
No,
suit.
it's a character's name. I think he's called the Sailor, like from the comics. Yeah, I was like, he's blonde.
And that fight is hilarious because he like slams the gun, and then like
I don't remember. I remember he's basically like Super Shredder, right? Isn't he like?
Yeah, he's literally throwing Thomas Jane into like refrigerators and cupboards and stuff.
Yeah, but Warzone has McNulty, so there's the Wire thing. So there's
I thought that's what you're going. Okay, that's what you're going for.
I did think of that.
That's a good across the pages. Fair enough. Yeah. Fair enough, sir.
So it kind of worked either way, but
it did. And again, first one has John Travolta. There we go.
J-Trav, yeah.
That just been jokes on jokes on jokes.
We're gonna watch that too. We'll bottle cap that probably.
No, he's just called the Russian.
He's the Russian. That's what's called, not the sailor. Just the. Jesus.
That's all right. Sailors are Russians.
This movie is so effective because it's so simple. While minding his own business as a retired assassin after the untimely death of his wife, who left him a puppy really cute dog. As a parting gift, he's confronted one day by a young Russian thug who wants to buy his car. Says no. The thug comes in with his boys, assaults John Wick, kills his dog,
Takes the
and
car.
leaves, and takes the car.
So how many X's were there? Why kill the dog? Didn't need to do that. Could have just stole the
Why
car.
that? Yeah.
Why keep the guy alive knowing you stole the car? He knows you like the car. You saw him in the gas station. He's like, "I'll buy your car." He's like, "No, it's not for sale." It's like everything's for sale, and then shows up and he's alive. Like you can tell this is the son of a big boss because sloppy.
Yeah.
Uh,
The
uh,
entitlement is brutal with this kid. It's just like, I want it, I'll take it. No, it's okay. Okay, I'm gonna go kill your dog then. What? Why?
Literally has enough money to be like, "Hey, Dad, I want this car. We should get this car. Ship it in for me." No, I want
Yeah.
your car. Really? You're gonna drive faster? Can you drive it in an airport hangar? And
Yeah. The more you think about it, the more you realize this is kind of dumb. But at the same time, it's like from start to finish, you take that aside, it's kind of like the perfect action film. It's like it's got the build up,
Mhm.
it's got the excitement, it's got the climax, and then the hero wins, but it's a tragic win. Like it's such a good. And it's the action isn't nonstop, which I appreciate,
Yes,
but when it hits like crazy, and then they have these
it's
nice
paced
breaks in
very
between.
well. Yes, it's
Yes,
paced
the
very
pacing.
well. And then a few car sequences and car chases that I definitely enjoyed and wasn't expecting for this. Again, I thought it was going to be all handheld. And
Hmm.
they kind of go away from that in the sequels because they have to escalate it. So like he ends up on a horse and a bike and a truck and it turns into like Fast and the Furious because he'll be in space
Yeah,
at some point. But when you kept it simple, it was very clean. Like as much as this isn't a clean movie because there's so much blood all over everything, the objective is always very clean. Like John knows, hey, like my car's gone, my dog's dead. What I have to do next? And one, it's go to the basement. Two, it's suit up. Three, it's like go see this guy about this, and so on and so forth. And he just kind of just starts returning back to his old life and seeing the old faces and being like, yeah, "So you're back to work?" It's like got to take care of this one thing, right? So, to your credit, this is a perfect sort of action story of one last mission, one last job, like one day from retirement because he doesn't really get it, and we're all in, right?
yeah, and it's almost like this movie really shouldn't be as good as it is, but it is, and we love it for it. And like you went to the casting. The casting is perfect. There's not really much else to say about the plot development. It's more about what kind of like the points, the destinations. Like he goes and does this, then there's this fight, and then he kind of goes over here and there's this fight, and so you kind of have to watch it to see it. But
Right.
did you did you have a favorite action sequence?
Oh, it's easy. As soon as he goes to the Russian club, come on, the
Oh, yeah, the
bathhouse.
club is
Yeah,
amazing. Yeah, it's
bathhouse.
the Red Circle Club. It's called the Red Circle.
Yes, it's a bathhouse with showers and like I guess hookers and a club upstairs and
Yeah,
then downstairs like you can go in like hot tub. Doesn't make any sense. Like
makes no sense.
logistically, I don't know
No.
who's cleaning those tubs, but they're dirty every day. But once John gets in there and just starts scoping it up, and bang, 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 like it's just
And the
it makes
music keeps changing. It starts with that lounge,
yes,
like dun dun dun. I love that song. I have it on playlist even now. But it starts with that, and then it kind of goes to the club, and it's more like wah, 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 like dubsteppy
yes,
thing, and then it kind of just escalates. And he doesn't even the coolest part, not the coolest part, but a cool part about that scene is he doesn't get his target. He
no,
just, but what he's able to do is kind of show off.
who
That's
he
like
is. Yeah.
that's the first big action sequence, right? And
Mhm.
it's kind of like, oh
I'm
wow, this
back,
guy is
baby. Yeah,
serious. Yeah.
it's his reintroduction.
Yeah.
What did you think of like the stylized uh, subtitles? Like that was the bit like for me it was like comic booky the way that they
Yeah.
like italicized it and kind of gave you a different view on how you would read Russian or all the other things that they're throwing out there. What'd you think?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was awesome. It was awesome. The colors, the color changing kept it interesting. It kept fresh for your eyes, like the different set. It's that just that one fight scene is crazy. And then when you stack it on top of the other things, the other fight scenes, and not only that, but the intrigue between the characters,
Mm-hmm.
because there's like the Willem Dafoe character who's friends with John Wick, but he's paid to kill him,
Right.
but he doesn't kill him. That comes full circle. Like it's kind of
Yes.
cool how even the minor plot threads, nothing's really ignored. I don't think.
And he's a
'Cause he-
vegan.
Yeah, he's
Maybe I don't know. He was juicing. I don't know. We got to see him juice, but he was juicing.
That's right. His carrot juice. Okay.
He needed it. I guess we needed
Yeah.
to see him need it. Would you say that this movie, because it's not a lot of plot development, is a character development movie? Like, do we learn more about John Wick?
yeah, it's more. It's you don't really learn much. Well, you learn about his motivations,
Hmm.
but you don't really. He doesn't have much of a personality, really. It's more the other characters and how much they respect him, right?
Right.
Like there's even Zavigo, the big bad. He's kind of
Right.
like when he finds out that his son robbed
Messed with the
messed with him.
boogeyman. Yeah. Yeah.
He's like you're dead. He's like there's nothing you can do. He's going to come for you. Like he's so heartbroken that he punches his son in the gut. Like it's like you idiot. Like you. I can't stop this. I'm
Yes.
going to try, but
No.
you did this, you son of a bitch. I think that's so cool
Yeah.
because there's like a respect thing, but he's scared, but he's not running away either. He's like, all right,
Is it a
I'm gonna,
respect or is it a fear? It's just like
yeah,
I've been in this game long enough to know there's certain people you don't mess with, and you mess with that one guy that you shouldn't have messed with. And two, his son could have made his name off of been like, I killed John Wick. Like, just kill the guy. There's no movie for us, but if you're killing a dog, if you're killing a puppy, kill the guy, take the car.
yeah.
I'm a badass. No.
Just go all the way. Why? But then, yeah, I don't know the entitlement, right? Maybe he wanted him to know that he tortured him. Like I won. I don't know. He's a prick.
Is it? It's weird.
We just kind of, and then like the way spoiling things, but the way he dies is just so.
Yep,
Well,
you're dead.
that kind of fitting though, because it's just he just doesn't even say anything. Just walks up, bang.
Well, it turns out that the son is the sub boss, right? Like
Yeah,
that. That's not even halfway through the movie until the real boss reveals himself, and it's kind of a whole other movie. Like it steps up a little bit.
it does. Yeah, but it's I don't know. I think it's yeah. I think it is like the perfect action film, and I still like watching it again. It was like a joy. I was like, man, I've seen this movie a bunch of times, but this is
Mhm.
so good to watch again.
Yeah, even the way he suits up, man, like all
Yeah,
dressed in black.
he's got the
And
Kevlar
then,
suits.
yep. I always love it anytime that I don't know if it happens in this one, but in the obvious sequels where he'll like shake a jacket out and you just hear like casings fall. It's
That's
like
right. Yeah,
those
yeah.
are I like those little
He doesn't do
touches.
it in this one, but does yeah,
No.
they get more advanced in the later ones. Anyways, when we put this on top of Punisher Warzone, how's it stack up? How's it stack up? Because in Warzone, man, this movie is a complicated movie because so
Yeah.
the idea is during his war on crime, Frank accidentally kills a U.S. agent within the uh, Billy, the bad guy's gang,
Hmm.
and it's a man who had a bunch of Billy's money. So then Billy wants to find his money again. I'm jumping ahead to the actual like this
Plot of the
the plot
movie.
of the
Yeah.
movie, and that's basically it. So it's like okay, that's kind of cool. Frank accidentally kills an undercover agent, but all right, we can get to the casting first. But it's
Do you want to? No, let's talk about it a little bit.
okay. There's a
Because
lot.
I will say, like John Wick, this seemed like a comic book movie. It's very
Yes.
stylized. It's very like you'll see the color palette. There's certain moments where like Frank is in the foreground and the background's lit purple, and the brick in front of him is lit yellow. And I'm like, this looks exactly like a graphic novel. So there was always an attention paid to that. They don't pull any punches with the killing and how he kills and the way he kills. I got to see him punch a fist through a skull, which spoiler alert happens in one of the comics we got to read, and I enjoyed that. Um, so there's an escalation, but I don't know if everything made sense in it. I feel like there's characters that were useless essentially, and just for a story that didn't really pull together. If this was just everybody against Frank, and we got to go to that hotel, and he was just spending his again, because my favorite action scene in this movie is that hotel where Billy assembles all of his I guess, international goons and all of their gangs. He's got like Triad. He's got the Irish gang. He's got like the Black Crew gang, and they're just all in this hotel, hanging and banging. I like that's the for me the best scene.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but like story wise, it's kind of thin and
Mm-hmm.
not in the best way. I wish it was like simplistic, but it seems like anytime they threw something in it, it wasn't in service of like I want to know what's going on with Frank, and there's all this extra stuff with.
Yeah. See, my thing is, I I'm two minds of this film because at one end, just like you were saying, you can tell the director and writer who's at Lexi Alexander is the
Yes,
director, right?
director.
Like
Right.
she and the team really paid attention to the source material. They
Hmm.
they made a really good version of the Punisher. I thought Ray Stevenson, I think, is actually the best one we've seen. The way he kind of carries himself, he's just like,
Whoa, whoa, whoa! Better than David Hasselhoff?
yeah, I haven't seen that one,
All
so
right,
I'm gonna assume, yeah, better than Dolph
hold your
Lundgren,
breath.
yes. Um,
Oh yeah, my bad.
Dolph,
Dolph
you're talking about
is
Dolph.
Punisher. Nick
So
Fury is Hasselhoff. There we go.
and then I did some research too and some digging around because I was like, wait a second, I know these characters, like the main crew, and every character in this movie, save for one, or every main
Exists.
character is from the comic books.
Hmm.
Do you know which one isn't from?
Uh, Nikki.
No, Looney Bin Jim isn't from the comic book.
Really?
Yeah, isn't that cool? And so Nikki in the books, even in the book we read, Nikki's there with
Oh yeah.
Pitsy and Ink, right? In this one, Nikki's the mole, but in the other ones, Nikki is one of the few people that has ever survived an encounter with Frank from the comics, right? And Pitsy and Ink are his two hands, right? So in
Yeah.
this
Sorry.
one, they're part of Jigsaw's crew. Nikki's a mole, Pitsy and Ink are Jigsaw's guys, and then Looney Bin Jim is his brother, who's fictional or made. They're all fictional, and is made up, right?
Right.
When you
I like
talk
that trope though. Like anytime movies do like evil brother and like a really crazy younger brother, like
crazy,
Face
brother, yeah,
Off,
that's right, yeah,
Dust
yeah,
Till
face off, yeah.
Dawn. Like I love that trope. So like this worked, but
Mhm.
it was almost like they didn't have enough to do with Looney Bin Jim. Like his motivation is like, I just want to kill Frank Castle.
Yeah,
I was like, all right.
he was just an extra body to kill. Because but then when it goes deeper than that, um, Soap and Budiansky,
Right.
they're from the comic books too, and
Yeah.
Soap in the books feeds him information. Budiansky is from a run as well where he starts to um he he starts to lose it and he starts to kind of become a Punisher himself, and Frank stops him before he actually kills anybody, right?
Ah.
And all this in this movie, so feeds him information. He stops Budiansky from going into
Oh yeah, the hotel.
the
Knocks him
hotel to
out.
start killing people.
Yep.
Um, Carlos Cruz in the books, when Frank retires, he takes up the mantle. Micro convinces him to take up the mantle. He gets killed, but that actually kind of happens here, right? Like he doesn't take
Right.
up the mantle, but he's kind of so the attention to detail like that is like you guys did an amazing job. They adapted parts of books into this movie and did it in a realistic way that actually worked, and that's fantastic. The
But
story and the dialogue is fucking horrible. Like it's so cheesy. It's
yeah,
so hammy.
you end up hating Angela because Angela just seems useless,
Yes. And it's just the way they talk is so annoying. It's like the whole you're talking about the
especially Soap.
especially so yeah yeah but then you talking about Jigsaw when he gets all the crews together,
Oh,
that's cool, but then at the
okay.
same time he's doing his little talk in front of the American flag, and I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah, and
what
it's
are we
like we
doing
should
here?
assemble together. And like I was gonna ask who his tailor was because he got like this nice
Yeah,
cream
they cool
ivory
yeah.
suit. Yeah.
But it's like,
All right, let's.
what's the tone here, right? We're like, are we going like through kill? Are we like, what is this? Like, it's not
Which is
driving
a
for
hard,
me.
which is kind of a hard road to walk with Punisher, right? Like he's never been the comic relief. He's always had another character in there to be comic relief. He's pretty stern and pretty serious. So again, Ray Stevenson was great for it. But there's something you need to kind of lighten about this movie because they couldn't go completely. I mean, it was R-rated,
They should
but
have gone completely. Actually, I think.
completely over the edge and just be like this is dark for
Yeah,
dark sake.
because you have Soap, right? Soap's kind of a like a nerdy character. You make him if you want any kind of comedic relief, it's him. Everybody else in this movie, there's no really reason for them to be silly and hammy.
Unless
Although Dominic West seemed like he had fun. But,
yeah, and terrible accent,
yeah,
terrible accent that pulled me out. But Looney Bin Jim. All right, let's get into casting because
yeah.
we already talking about it. We're talking about Punisher Warzone 2008. If you're alive, congratulations because this movie was out then. Directed by Lexi Alexander, who's gone on to do some good stuff. Like she did that Hooligan movie, Green Street Hooligans. Give that a shot
Okay.
if you haven't seen it. Okay. So directed by Lexi Alexander, written by Nick Sotora, Art Markham, and Matt Holloway. It stars Ray Stevenson as the titular character, Frank Castle, the Punisher, Dominic West playing Billy and Jigsaw, Doug Hutchison playing Looney Bin Jim, Colin Salmon playing Paul Budinsky, Wayne Knight maybe perfect casting.
Yeah,
Playing
Micro.
Micro, Dash Minogue playing Martin Soap, Julie Benz playing Angela, Stephanie Jan U Sakas playing Grace, Mark Camacho playing Pitsy, Romano
There you go.
Ozari
There you
playing
go.
Nikki, Kira Maki Sanchez playing Ink, Larry Day playing Agent Miller, Ron Lee playing Captain Ross, David Valim playing Christophe Balut, John Dunhill playing Caesar, Nico Nikolov playing Pompilou, and Albert Paleschio playing Tiberiu. Let's get into it.
Well, we already were, but that's basically that's basically that's we talked about this already, but that's my
I will.
gripes with it. That's my gripes with it is that it's so loved on one side, but then so not well done on the other side.
I will definitely say it has taken its homages from other comic book movies because in Jigsaw's origin story, he falls into a vat, and we've seen villains fall into a vat and crushed up, and that's a pretty graphic scene and pretty damn good. But the one that really got me was when he goes to the doctor's office and he says, "Hand me the mirror." I've seen this before, so we're
Yeah,
gonna call it an homage because I don't think they stole it, but
no,
it's pretty blatant. You get the whole Joker when they first reveal Joker in Batman. You get the same sort of thing with Punisher, and then he stabs him in the head with a pair of scissors. And what'd you think of the makeup on Jigsaw?
uh, it looked like a
That is
mask. It looked like a
that is
mask.
correct, sir.
It looked
And
like
that's how like Dominic West kind of seemed like the comic relief for me because you couldn't take him seriously looking in the mask that he was in. Like his
yeah,
nose is kind of askew. There's a weird bulge eye, but they actually had like patches popping off his
yeah.
face in different colors, and
He looked like
that's where you got to sell it.
he looked like he just walked out of Batman Forever. You know what I mean? Like that's especially when he had the cream suit on. This I was like, all right, this is,
Yeah. Like skipping in the street. Yeah.
and that's what I mean because he's. I'm sure they could have casted it better, but it's not like he did what he was supposed to do, but he was so like just really really hammy, and I was like,
Yeah,
I
the
can't.
makeup was rough. His choices were rough, and the accent, his accent when he was Billy, I was like, "This is a terrible American accent."
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
That's
him and Ray Stevenson are both not American based. Like I think Ray Stevenson's Australian,
I didn't even know that.
and, and I think Dominic West is
He's
British.
British.
Quote me
Yeah,
if I'm wrong. Yeah. So again, Hollywood going outsourcing, but imagine an actual Brooklyn, New Yorker. Oh, my bad. Ray Stevenson was born in Northern Ireland.
oh, there you go. He's Irish. But no, he was. I thought he was great. I thought he was actually really good. He looked a lot like Frank, like a grizzled, angry
Yeah,
Frank. Like
he looked tired.
yeah, he looked tired. He looked just sick of everybody's shit. It was kind of weird that he had that little bat cave kind of thing. It wasn't really a bat cave, but it felt like it. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
he had the chair that he was sitting down. I don't think he'd sit in this comfy chair. But I don't like.
No,
I don't know. There was the one scene. One of my favorite
I
scenes
missed the van.
actually is was when when he goes to the house to save with he's with Budiansky and they go to the house
Okay, right, yeah.
and then Soap lets him out and he goes
Mhm.
inside and he grabs the girl. He grabs the girl and then he
He
backs
says,
up.
"Put
And he
wait,
just shoots.
wait, wait. But then he says, "Put your hands behind your back." Right? They finally got Pitsy. Pitsy like fine, and he picks up his shotgun.
Looks like he's gonna back out and then
Yeah, blows his head off. I was like, what? And that comes on the tail of my favorite scene because he finds is it Nikki? And Nikki puts his gun down to do some coke.
ink.
My bad. Puts his gun down to do some coke, and just gets greeted to a fist to his face, and like just implodes.
Yeah.
And I was like, God damn.
Yeah.
But that girl, like that girl, her life's ruined. Right?
That's what
Like,
I mean. Like you're holding this young girl and you just blow the guy's guts open right in front. I was like, man.
this is the war zone. Welcome to the war zone.
And the girl doesn't even flinch. Like she takes him back.
No.
He takes him back to the hideout. She's going through toys, and she's like happy
Yeah.
as can be. I'm like, man.
They're talking about eggs and like I was laughing too when like Looney Bin was up in her room and just shoot like he lined up all the dolls. It was just doing execution. So like there's weird points in this movie that are unintentionally funny.
Yeah,
Or like we have a dark sense of humor.
probably a bit of both.
Fair. The pacing's fairly fast. Like it gets to where you want it to be almost immediately. And then you have again another It's funny you say Batman Forever. He has the Sophie's choice of, are you going to save Micro? Or are you
Yeah.
going to save this little girl? I was like, one of them's got to die. One of them's got to. And I can't say that he had the best plan in that.
No, he didn't.
Because usually the hero gets to save both of them. He's like, no. Spoiler, like, he doesn't actually kill Micro, but pretty much, right?
Yeah.
Because he kills Looney Bin Jim, and then runs to go stop the bullet that Jigsaw will inevitably shoot at the girl. Meanwhile, Jigsaw's like, "All right, cool," and puts one in
Micro's head.
Micro's head. And I laughed. I was like, "This is not a good. This proves that you're not a hero."
Yeah, this is
right?
not good.
Like,
Yeah, this is.
you're not a hero. Like, but it's a movie.
Yeah, it's a movie. It's I don't I don't know. I didn't really hate my time with it, but I was kind of just like you said, it's not that long either, but at the same time at the end I was like, can this just needs to end?
Yeah, it's a movie with weird choices in it, right? Like, there's the early Dread guys in there, and then Jigsaw's like, "Do your monkey thing," and like he goes off, and I was like, "What's going
Yeah,
on here?"
it's no.
You have to buy into the world, but the world is kind of a graphic novel, so I appreciate that. It's just weird that they couldn't pull it both together, but get a writer, I guess we're saying that.
Yeah, now this wasn't even planned, but when we picked the books and the movies, especially for this, I didn't realize because I didn't realize that there was gonna be so many similarities.
Right?
Because we can transition to the book now, and it's called the arc is called it's Punisher Max. And it's called In the Beginning is the name of the arc. So it's the first few issues of the Punisher Max run by Garth Ennis, and um, there's the scene where in the movie where he throws the guy on the fence and then jumps on his chest. That happens in the book.
It's in the book.
Both the movie and the book open with him killing Caesar.
That is true.
Right, and at a party, it's like Caesar at a group, or not a party, but at a group event, and he kills Caesar.
Right.
So it's like there's some like you can tell they took parts of this book for this movie. So I think they went through and grabbed a bunch of different influences and used it for this movie and this run especially because it has Nicky and his gang, even though they made him an agent and stuff. So I thought that was interesting. I noticed that when as soon as he did the fence thing, I was like, hey, I recognize that. Used on different characters though, because used it in the book. It was on Pitsy, right? Who was an animal in the book. God damn,
he was killing everybody.
Yeah, but so where the movie kind of falters and the tone's all weird. On the flip side, in the beginning, nails the tone.
Yes,
This comic was really good.
Yes. And I will say, like, it's a very good looking comic.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing that pulled from me is kind of their choice of colors. I wish it was more muted and more kind of subdued. Often certain pages are like blasting with color, and then it goes from hot to cool colors really fast. And like that's just a nitpick. Like, it pulled me out faster when like the story is so something that kind of consumes you and pulls you in. Like, you start caring about all these different characters before you even get to like Frank, and to see like Frank's evolution in this is kind of cool, right? Like, he spends most of it kind of in the background essentially, right? As they're like the interrogation and all that stuff. But I love how those panels look, right? There's certain panels that are completely all black and they have like the Matrix type of color vibe throwing through it, and each character is like glowing off of like blues and purples. But then you'll go outside and it'll be like bright as day, and they have like greens and reds and oranges, and it's like I don't want this. I kind of want this to be a darker world. I want it to be more like Warzone, where there's not a lot of color in Warzone.
No,
like there's added in color, right?
It's very gray and
yes,
and blue
and dark, and then the only time you really see flashes of color is blood, and even that's like toned down blood. Like, it's like dark reds, right? Not like explosion reds here, but a very strong story, because we end up learning about all these characters, I think more so than Frank.
Yeah, because it sets the playing field where Frank obliterates a bunch of mafioso at a 100th birthday party, like we are talking about the Caesar guy. And at the same time, he's being watched by two cops, which is an operation you find out led by his old associate, Micro. And that was kind of a cool twist. Like, this is interesting.
Yes.
Right? Uh,
He's a big player in this one, right?
yeah,
And don't call him Fat Boy or else.
yeah. He's tough in this too.
He was
Yeah.
grabbing nuts left and right.
And the leftovers of the mob that he killed, they get desperate and they reach out to Nicky, with Ink and Pitsy to take care of Frank,
Right.
who still has to deal with Micro. So he's got the cops on his one end with Micro and the undercovers, and then he's got Nicky and his crew, and they're trying to clean him up, even if the guys who asked him to clean up don't want them to. Remember, he's like
Right.
I can't remember his name, but he's like, yeah, come help me take care of this stuff. And then he tells his boss,
Not Bentho. Not Bertho. Bentho.
Bethel's, yeah, Bethel.
Oh, my bad.
And then they're like, no, don't, don't. What are you doing? Don't bring these guys. And he tries, and then as he's saying that, Nicky comes in and gets him killed. So it's like, all right. Well.
And the tone's amazing for this. Like,
Yeah.
this is way funnier than it's supposed to be. Like, all the
Yes.
goons are hilarious and dark, and they're always kicking the door and be like, "Shut the fuck up. We're fucking here. Fuck this. Who the fuck's this?"
Yeah.
Like, and you love it because this is the world. Like, it's such a hard R graphic novel that you can't help but getting drawn in. So like you end like watching Bethel, like his arc to get to
Where
like
he
his
ends
ending
up.
was so hilarious. Like, it was so perfect. Like I loved how they panned him out because he's so front loaded. And you're like, who is this fucking slime ball? And like, he gets what's coming to him.
I actually laughed.
It's
I actually
so
laughed
well
out
paced.
loud.
Yes,
I actually laughed out loud. I think the big question here is, does he have a big dick? Because that's all that she wanted. And then you find, I'm like, why is she talking like this? And then you find out she's like a quote unquote reformed criminal. I was like, oh, okay, that's why she's so like unrefined. I was like, oh.
I did appreciate that she's one of the boys, right? Like, she doesn't
Yeah.
she's not as a side piece. She's just in there with them saying all the same sort of bullshit that they'd be saying. But like Micro turned out to be like the surprise for me because he double crosses and then gets double crossed. And I love that every character in this nobody's clean. Everyone's a shade of gray. Everyone's got a little bit of tint on them. So when everyone gets their comeuppance the way that they get their comeuppance, you kind of like laugh and love it because the writer took us on such a good journey. And this is how they started Max, right? Like, again, this was the beginning. But
This is no, I loved it. I loved the start to finish. I couldn't put it down. I was like, man, I want to keep going. And yeah, like you said, there's the Micro like double cross, and then he double crosses it's like he just because what he was proposing to Frank really wasn't that crazy. I was like,
yeah, but like that's not Frank's MO.
And then but then when Frank lays it out, he's kind of like, yeah, that's a good point too. Like, so it was kind of, because at first I was like, when I was reading,
you could see both sides, right?
Yeah, because I was like, he's got a point. But then he's like, Frank's like, yeah, but government's dirty. It's like, yeah, he's right. He's right too. They're doing the same dirty shit. So it's like,
but he wants him to work for the company, right? Like, it seemed like a perfect offer. It's like, why fight the mob? They're too low end. Like, we can go get Bin Laden, right? And like, name drops all the stuff that he could do. And again, I love that interrogation scene. That's why I wanted kind of the rest of the book to be kind of flat and muted, because the way the artwork is, it pops. And like, you can see all the kind of wrinkles and emotion in Frank's face when he's telling him like all this stuff. And you think Frank is behind the 8 ball when in fact he's in front of it. Like, he's just buying time, right? He drops the pictures of his kids, kind of stuff. Like, all that stuff is so well done. Meanwhile, across town, you hear what's going on with the mob, and like, they're slowly coming to, you don't realize that, but they're slowly coming to where Frank is. And then you get that kind of like the flip of the story, right? Where everyone gets double crossed, and just really well paced.
It's like,
thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, really, really, really good. And then it's the end, and like Frank, he's actually, you don't really know, like he's a villain in this, because it's like at the end you're like he's annoying. I was like, man, but he's so stuck to his values. It's just like, if you do one thing wrong, if you're doing this, you're taking their dirty money, you're doing this, you're one of them. And there was no faltering,
no middle ground, like, that's it.
And I was like,
but you can't trust Micro again. Like, he literally put a shotgun in your face.
Yeah,
like, he takes him out.
Yeah.
And there's a weird character choice. Like, there are certain panels that it looked like Frank Castle was like Clint Eastwood, and I don't know if that was by choice, but he had such like old haggery face. So when he's in the blue integration,
I thought the exact same thing. He looks like, what's his name from
Dirty Harry.
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, even Get off my lawn. Yeah, like
Yeah, that's what I saw. That's and watch
again,
the
he
movie
looks
again.
tired. He looks tired. It's not bad. It's not bad. And there's a nice car in that.
Then I just remembered the Bethel scene. You prick, you asshole, you motherless piece of ah.
It's almost like an afterthought. It's so great. Like he doesn't even get the justice for who his character is. It's just like fuck you. I'm done with you.
Oh, it's
So
so funny
good.
the way he goes.
So we would say that the comic is better than the movie, but without this comic, you wouldn't have the movie that we got because
Yeah.
there's definitely a lot of good shades that were pulled.
Well, like I said, there was the scene they took scenes directly from this and adapted into the movie. And the movie, man, like on paper, the movie when you think about everything that had
Not
been
not on paper, on storyboard because we
yeah
like the look and
storyboard.
the feel of the movie,
Yeah,
but the paper had no words.
I don't know who wrote that script, but good God, that was bad. And
Shout outs to Satoru Markham and Holloway.
yeah, it was hokey, man.
Yeah.
But then we jump from one comic to the other, and we're going full circle back to John Wick with his comic from Dynamite Entertainment, 2017, written by Greg Pak, drawn by Giovanni Valletta. Greg Pak is I got excited when I saw him because he's written a lot for Marvel and DC and Valiant and stuff like that. He's a seasoned writer. He's done a whole lot of stuff. I'm pretty sure he did World War Hulk or Planet Hulk and stuff. So yeah, he did World War Hulk and that whole Hulk arc. He did a bunch of other things, some House of M stuff. Like he's like a well-known, regarded comic book
respected,
writer.
writer.
This was not his best work.
There we go. There it is. I was waiting for it.
This was not his best work.
This is not good. Not good writing.
No, and it's interesting. It's
flat.
yes, thank you. That's a perfect word. Thank you. Because it takes place before the movie does. It's shining a light on a specific incident when John was a teenager, in with a gang of three other guys, Pecos, Billy, and Buffalo, the three Bills, right, who tried to kill him but ended up taking out a whole block instead. And he comes back for revenge.
Right.
And Charon's in it too. Lance Reddick, R.I.P. Once again, he makes an appearance here, and John saves him from being held at gunpoint. And we're introduced to the Continental El Paso. It's during his revenge after the three Bills, he ruffles up some feathers, some higher ups who turns it around and gets the two Bills left. Like it's cool, but I don't see how this connects to the movie for one thing, because where it ends, it's like this was useless, and you're just kind of right back where you started. Like, so this is the first time he meets Charon. Like, this is Lance Reddick. Like, this is the first
in El Paso.
Yeah, it's what's going on.
So here's my first and I guess my biggest gripe. It's Continental El Paso.
Yeah,
and you're searching for the Pecos. Obviously, you have a comic book where you can put the Killer Elite in a warehouse or a hotel in anywhere in the world, and you choose El Paso, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing against anyone from El Paso. I hope you're listening, but we're looking at a franchise that's now spanned the state of the globe. So I like either go completely out of bounds or like somewhere simple like Idaho, Maine, where like nothing happens.
Yeah, nothing
except for like they all come in. But so like already I was kind of like off kilter with the setting, and then they do the flashbacks and it's all like this cowboy stuff, and I was like, this doesn't really fit what I know about John Wick. So you're trying to make it stylized and cowboy, what's the word, like genre-ish, but like that's not even the genre that you're building towards, especially if we're going into the movie where he's retired. Like this should have been kind of like his last final missions, or like already known the concierge by this point, right? If we're going back into the original movie.
Well, that was my big gripe. Well, not my big gripe, but one of my gripes is like, what is this? This is supposed to be a prequel. That's what they advertise as a prequel. Read this before you watch the movie. This answers nothing. All it does is establish that he knows Lance Reddick, or the concierge, Charon, whatever. He knows him, and it kind of loosely gets him involved with the Russians because at the end, Maria works for them.
Yeah, but
that's it. And it's like, I would have preferred like John Wick's first mission or John Wick retiring with his wife. His wife's not even in this.
Nope.
So I was like, okay, so why aren't we showing that part that leads to, and then like the ending panel is his wife dying, right? It's like, oh, okay, then this leads into the movie. I'm good. This does nothing. It's just a side thing that might have happened before or might happen in like an alt universe. I don't know, but it's
And what an easy way that you could have established the relationship with his wife. Like you could have created this whole backstory of like she was an assassin, or she brought him out of this world, or some sort of that like created this big love bond that in her loss, like this guy's a broken man to the point that he's putting down his guns, like he's taking over a new leaf. We get none of that. It's hollowed out. And the fact that like you made John Wick chatty, like this dude doesn't shut up.
yeah.
And I want him to be like one word answers and like have everyone around him giving the exposition and the dialogue, because you get the concierge to like break down what the hotel is and like do the rules, because that would have been my gripe of how does someone read this not understanding the franchise, but they give the exposition of like this the hotel, in a hotel I can't do this and go here and go here. Great. He should be the talker, Wick should be the shooter. I don't want to hear Wick being like, well, sit down and let's talk about when I was over it. I don't want any of that.
Yeah, it's almost like when they did this, they hadn't watched John Wick. They just heard they just heard about it. You know what I mean? Like because the character is weird, and then they have that Calamity chick in there.
Yeah, why?
I'm like, okay, so they don't need this, but it's just like this crazy like Harley Quinn type nutty character
with a bazooka, so it doesn't even
Yeah.
fit the motif that you're building. Like,
no.
there's a whoosh.
Yeah, yeah. If we were rating them on this, that'd be a whoosh. Because I was just like, this was kind of a waste of time. I got nothing out of this. It wasn't fun. I guess there were some fun parts, but it wasn't really like I don't.
No,
I,
don't lie to yourself. I mean, Calamity was fun, but she doesn't belong in this world.
no, she doesn't.
I would read something about her, maybe in the Old West, but to try and bring her to the concierge. I will say this about the artwork: it's very simplified. They don't waste a lot of line work on characters, so like the faces really look like the characters. And I don't know if it's harder for an artist to draw an existing person from real life or to create their own character, but you can definitely tell Lance Reddick from Lance Reddick and Keanu Reeves from Keanu Reeves in this. But there's no detail. So all the background is either just a splash of color or the one object that you don't need. So it looks like a rush job because there was no time and attention paid to all these other spots. In comparison to the movie, I get that it's stylized and clean, but like this was almost too clean, if that's a thing.
Yeah, I know it's
Because like you're forcing where my attention goes, great. But if the dialogue isn't stronger than the simplified pictures, then like I'm flying through this and not really enjoying the process of the comic book, right? And comic book's supposed to be a collaboration of two amazing things: amazing writing and amazing artwork. And just kind of faltered on both.
And if you're gonna advertise it as a prequel to the film, maybe make it connect to the film.
Yeah.
Like I was saying, there's nothing. Even the set, like the setting doesn't have to be the same, but at least lead into the movie how it's going to start. Maybe have some elements of it that are there. Introduce what's
Vigo?
Leguizamo's character.
Like
you could put him in here
easily.
No, he's not
Aurello.
there.
Yeah.
He's not
I was gonna say you could have followed Vigo. This could have been like a Vigo story,
that as
and then
well.
you find out like Vigo is responsible for killing his wife. So that's something that we don't get in the movie, but we get here, and then there's another level for when you rewatch the movie.
Yep.
You had a very large opportunity to enhance this world of the Wick universe, and this seems like a money grab.
I was just gonna say it's just a little cash grab with people who like the movie. Oh, here you go. Here's the book, and it's not even great. And it's like what? Even the art, like you said, even the art's not even that great. So it's like, what am I getting here? I'm getting nothing really.
Like even if it was more stylized, but like it's trying to look like humans, cool, but like not detailed. So, so it's not even distinct. Like you'll read this. The most distinct thing about this was the covers, and one of the covers are always a picture of actual Keanu Reeves as John Wick. So I always laughed at that. I was like, why would you include that? Like that doesn't make me hype for the movie. Draw this shit.
Yeah, because it's like what's because these came out 2017ish, right? So this is like before the second one came out, and it was
You
like,
put in movie stills. I was like, you guys are lazy.
what
There's
is
not
this?
even a.
Yeah,
There's not even a. What's it called? What are the alternative covers called again?
variant,
Uh, it's not even a variant. It's literally a picture of Keanu Reeves holding a gun. I was like, fuck you guys.
which is a little bit
I,
of yeah. It's not because it's not even like It's not even like the colors are changed. It's just literally that. With
it's a
yeah,
screen gap. Like
yeah.
someone filmed this. Like, just take this one frame and put that as a cover. And it's like that didn't help me with anything.
No,
Fuck you guys.
no.
Just hurt your comic. It made me remind me that I wanted to watch the movie, not read this trash.
So it's interesting that this might be a first for us. Where we're, maybe not. I don't remember. That one comic's really good and the other one's really bad, and then the one movie's really good and the other one's really bad, and it's opposite. Like that's kind of
No, this is a first.
that's the first, right? Okay, good.
Yeah.
So I thought I can't remember because I was looking back at all the other ones we've done, and I was like, all the other AXPs that we've done, and I was like, man,
Right.
I don't remember.
No, because I remember loving both Zorro and Batman comics.
Yep. Oh yeah, those were great. Yeah.
Yeah. But only loving the Zorro movie because I can't remember which Batman we did, but it wasn't.
We
a good
did
one.
Batman and Robin,
Yeah.
and you went on
not
for
a-
so long.
And then didn't we do a BC so I could talk more junk about Batman and Robin? I still have things to say about that movie.
No,
That
you
movie's-
you went on for so long. I should have cut that out, but it's like it's like
you
this
shoulda.
40-minute rant.
You should have saved that for the Patreon. I was not happy. Listen, I remember going to the theater with my dad, begging him, and then leaving him, and my dad just shaking his head like, "This is what you pick." I was like,
Yeah.
"I guess."
But as a kid, you like loved it, right?
No, it was like
No, even as a kid, you
long.
didn't like it.
As soon as I saw the skates popping out the boots, I was like, "What is this? This don't make sense. How does this make sense?
Chill.
This don't make sense."
I will say
And
this:
then
at the end of that video, I did a compilation of Schwarzenegger saying ice puns. I found that's worth the price of admission. If you go back to that episode, it's it's our Batman AXB
Oh
across the
god!
pages with Zorro.
But I actually think this is the AXP that's most cohesive. This
Yeah.
makes sense. I think you could take Punisher out of his world and put it into John Wick universe
Yeah.
and fuck shit up, and you could put John Wick, pull him out of his universe and put him into, I guess, Marvel universe, and he would fuck shit up, right?
That would be, you know what, that would be really cool for, because I haven't seen John Wick 4 yet, but if you had a John Wick 5 and you had a character literally based off of the Punisher as like his,
his adversary. Wow.
that'd be dope. Like just
Ah.
all guns, maybe a little less fighting, but more
Yes.
guns, and he has to kind of figure
Yeah.
out. And he's just relentless. He's just
They're
on
both
it.
marksmen, right? Like they're
Yeah.
both like headshot. I was like, and they have to kill everybody else to get to each other. Who wins that? How do you? Here's your pitch. Who wins in John Wick versus Punisher versus Frank Castle? Baba Yaga versus Punisher.
I
You gonna
think I'm gonna go with Baba Yaga. I think I'm gonna
Wow.
go with Baba Yaga because
Wow.
he's a trained assassin, and he's been doing this. Where Punisher, I don't know, because Punisher's got the artillery though. He's got way.
Thank you. That's
he's
what I'm
got-
saying.
He's got
Punisher
way
showing
more
up
guns.
with
Yeah.
automatic weapons every time.
Yeah.
Like Wick can do a lot with a handgun, but like Punisher's
Yeah.
like, nah. Why? I'm a bullet machine. Oh, a bullet farmer. What's
Because if
the
it comes
tropical-
to fisticuffs, John's got him. But just straight shooting, I don't.
I've literally saw Punisher punch a guy
Through the skull, yeah.
through his face through the skull. So again, I think the tail of the tape is a little more even than we're giving it credit to. We have
Yeah.
to do a draft. Just
Well,
to
you just made me choosing the spot. So that was the first thing that came to mind.
and you chose wrong.
So my head's blue. But that's. You got anything else to say? Are we good?
I was gonna say, like, which would I rewatch, Warzone or original Punisher with Thomas Jane?
We got. We'll have to.
It's
We'll have
not-
to do something else with that one.
It's Thomas Jane. And
When was the
then
last time you watched that movie?
Thomas Jane?
Yeah.
Like at least 10 years ago.
Yeah, probably longer for me because Ray Stevens is a better. He's a better
Correct.
Frank Castle, 100%.
But there's a better universe of characters, I think, in the Thomas Jane Punisher.
I'm gonna assume that my memory serves me right, and John Travolta's a better villain than
Yeah, I literally remember him, like, because there's a whole plot where Thomas Jane's Frank Castle makes John Travolta think that his wife's cheating on him with his right hand man, and Travolta's like, "Fuck you," and takes his wife, who he like really loves, and like drops her off a building, I think in front of like a train track to get run over. And I was in the theater, I laughed the longest and the hardest because it was implausible but amazing and just campy. Like the Thomas Jane one is campy, so it doesn't work. Like it's not gonna work for true Punisher fans. But there was an era of Marvel movies where like they didn't know what they were doing, so they're all hilarious.
04, right?
Yeah,
It's not from 04. Yeah, so this is like
the Daredevils and all that stuff.
Yeah,
and then come like 08, 09, they're like, okay, we can go harder because the first Ghost Rider is campy, but the second one is a little more like we're trying to like take it seriously.
See, I don't remember those movies either. I remember watching them, and I've always had a crush on Eva Mendes, so I was like, oh yeah, but I never really
took them seriously.
I don't remember them. I don't remember. It's so long ago, man.
It's Nicolas Cage as a flaming skull. It's amazing.
We haven't done anything on Ghost Rider. We gotta do some Ghost Rider stuff soon.
Yeah, we do. Johnny Blaze.
Blaze.
Across the pages with Method Man.
There you go.
Mr. Meth for short.
But this is across the page. If you liked, please comment, please like. Hit us up on the socials. We dropped that at the beginning. And it's
because you forgot them. You forgot them now.
Even though nobody cares.
Would you say this movie? Would you say that this?
You go ahead.